Way too rich to drive a Rolls. Made $1 million out of stove. She like to put it in her nose. Pretty bitch with white toes. I done put her all the bros. I done put her in the rose. I done put up in the ghost. I done reached all my goals. Yeah, pull up with Yeezy and dollar sign. I'm all about business, I'm man of mine. Pull up in the trees like Caliban. Pull up with a rocket like number 9. I don't want your hoes. Your nigga reach all the goals. Let her suck the dick, said she was a pro. She straight with teeth, I'ma tell her to go. Go. Head so good, she honorable. She ride a dick like a carnival. I done did the impossible. Go. Head so good, she honorable. She ride a dick like a carnival. I done did the impossible.
She brought it like she's facts. We turn up to the max.
I'm gonna let y'all know right now. Dang, kind of loud. I'm gonna let y'all know right now. You really didn't need anybody but Ty Dolla $ign on that song.
That's fair. No, I needed Rich the Kid. He did a good job.
Okay, I amend that. You didn't need Kanye. You only needed Kanye to produce. He does add the shock value, which, I mean, he gonna say whatever he want to say. But what's up, big girl?
And that's Reese. What up? Yeah. I mean, I get what you're saying. You're right. This song without Kanye is still a hit.
It's fire. It's fire, Shada.
Yeah. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
But welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Saturday Morning Live. You know what it is, the basketball edition. We in basketball season, full blown, important games now. Football season is over with. We had our
every
last
day going forward.
We had our last Super Bowl discussion last week. We had our last. Now we're going to talk about the draft. I will get into that more around March and April, but we won't get into that here. Man, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. You can see our new setup. I think our old setup on Saturday Morning Live Instagram had Norwood in the fell clutch behind the comments.
It had me behind everything.
So we went ahead and changed the setup a little bit. If you're tuning in on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, X, Black Planet, MySpace, whatever, man, we appreciate all y'all, man. We appreciate everybody tuning in. Pardon me, man. I slept up under the fan the other day and I got a little cold, so I appreciate y'all for bearing with me. How you feeling, brother?
I am feeling blessed and highly favored. It is 70 degrees in Houston, so it's almost that time, my boy.
It's 48 degrees. It's 48 degrees.
Prayers.
Well, Atlanta, it gets warm. Like it was 60 something degrees. It's just at night. Yeah. At night it gets 40. I'd be like, dang, man, this gets sick weather. But
this is the reason that I love Houston. And everybody's like, so why do you live here and all the power grid and all the crazy? Oh, because it's 70 degrees.
70 degrees in February. Yes, sir. So where you want to start, man? You want to get started with? I got to get.
Let's get right into these games here. Let's talk about last night. Hawks come back.
Y'all know we talking about the Hawks. Y'all know we talking about it. So
yeah,
we'll talk about your team too.
Yeah, this is what we do. Yeah, we surely will. Poorly, probably. But the Hawks come back from All-Star, and I don't want to say they laid an egg, but for the first quarter, they looked terrible. And then after that, it was kind of a pit of despair that we never quite got back all the way. I mean, we got back into the game, but we should be better than the Raptors, and we're not. And I don't think that what's his name played last night. RJ didn't play last night. And we're at almost 100%. Okongwu was out with a big toe injury, but outside of that, man, our backup center can't be the reason you win or lose games consistently. And also, Quinn got thrown out of the game.
So I'm looking at the stats. Let me address Bally Sports, the Hawks, Peachtree TV, all of this stuff. If y'all gonna decide to black out a game and show it on open air, make sure everybody got open air. Shut it. I couldn't watch the game. I couldn't watch NBA.
Open air? What is open air?
Free, like an antenna. You know, like you buy the antenna, put it on your house, and you can get the air channels. That's what it's called when you had your channel. You would press open air, and you get to the channels, and they would come on the TV. That's what it is. And so the Suns were the first model to do that recently. Go back to it. So Atlanta's trying to do the same thing. The thing about that is you black out NBA TV when you do that. So I don't mind them not being on Bally. That's cool, but you can't even watch it on League Pass, which defeats the purpose of buying League Pass. So,
yeah, that's one of the benefits of living in a different city is it's easy for me to watch the Hawks games with League Pass because they're not blacked out. I just never get to see the Rockets play, and that's a little tragic to me because I like Alperen Sengun so much. But yeah, the Bally just sucks. Let's be real here; they suck.
They do, man. They do,
and will continue to suck for the foreseeable future for whatever reason.
Yep. But I'm looking at I'm able to look at the stats of this Hawks game, and this has been a trend for the last 5 games. Trey had less than 20 points for the fourth or fifth game in a row. We can't play defense. We can't play defense at all. The Raptors had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players in double figures. For context, they only played 9. They only played 9 players, and the one that didn't score was Jordan Nwora, who played 14 minutes and was 0 for 5. But everybody else, they all shot above. They shot right at 50% for a team. They shot 40% from 3. Like, you can't have bad offensive and bad defensive nights. We're already a bad defensive team, so that eliminates the ability to have bad offense. You have to score 130 points per game, 140 points per game to even think about winning. And Trey, I don't know if all the trade rumors are getting to him and all of that stuff, but the last 4 games he's laid an egg.
Now you a Hawk for the rest of the season at least.
Yeah, but that don't matter.
I mean, if you watch the game, number one, he just started out, no pun intended here, but ice cold. He couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. Super frustrating because, you know, that's a lot of the reason that we started to slow. I don't really think that Hunter coming off the benches, I don't think that's the right answer either. I mean, we just don't have enough point of attack defense if you put Sadiq out there, DeJounte out there, and Trey out there. Jalen Johnson he tries hard on defense, but at the end of the day, he's
playing the 5 at the size of a 3.
Well, that too, but the other issue is he doesn't have enough reps to be a good defender. That's the reason that
the mental
I know people. Yeah, like, you know, I'm gonna have to keep bringing it up because John Collins was just thrown away. Is John had enough reps because he had played so long that he was that's what got him to being where he is as far as a plus defender is. You just get so many opportunities, and due to the fact that Nate didn't play Jalen just doesn't have enough reps. So he tries, and I appreciate that. I give him a lot of credit.
He has more ability than John. Yeah, you're right. He has more ability than John, though.
Yeah, he has more ability than John, but John just had more reps, and that's what helped John ramp up faster. And I mean, we also get murdered on backdoor cuts. And I know everybody wants to blame Clint for the defense, but Sadiq, Trey, and even DeJounte, like we're one of the best steal teams in the NBA. But what that means is we're guessing and playing passing lanes. So what happens is we end up between the ball and the defender, but that means that we get between the ball and the other offensive player, but that means that the offensive player is closer to the goal. So they just backdoor us to death. And then, Clint and whoever's playing center can do the best that they can. But at the end of the day, if you're already beat, you're already beat. We don't play enough honest defense to stop anybody, but that's the reason that we have so many steals.
So, and I'm gonna jump in here about the defense. I understand why you play Sadiq Bey because of having 2 guards. Sadiq Bey ain't really gonna dribble. I mean, he will if he has him. One thing offensively about Sadiq Bey, he's either gonna shoot unless he has a smaller defender. Then he'll take him to the post. DeAndre Hunter, what's frustrating about it is DeAndre Hunter views himself as the number 2 option or the number 2B, whatever you want to call it. So when he gets the ball, he doesn't catch the ball and just shoot or he dribbles. I said this when he posted that video in the offseason and he was training with Carmelo Anthony. I said, ooh, I don't know if that's going to work with the Hawks because Carmelo stopped the ball. So you play Sadiq Bey because offensively it flows better, but you give up the defense. But when you play DeAndre, defensively he plays better and he scores just as much, but the offense is more one-on-one. So you offensively, I think you saw JJ Redick and Tyrese Halliburton talk about how Quinn designs. Quinn offensively, I mean, it's a reason we score on 140, 130, but he just don't care about defense at all. But what were you about to say about Hunter?
If Hunter could ever learn to like
be an assistant,
if he could get 5 or 6 assists a game, he would be one of the best players in the NBA. I still believe that just because he can do so many different things, but he is Black Hole Hunter. When you throw him the ball, don't plan to see it again. As much as people laugh about Michael Porter Jr. being a black hole, DeAndre Hunter is pretty damn close.
What I don't understand is we're basically saying DeAndre Hunter doesn't fit in a system is what we're basically saying, right? And for the life of me, I don't understand why you can't figure out your role. Maybe it is money, but you came from a college that was the ultimate system. Yeah, Virginia is the ultimate system.
1.5 assists for his career. That's terrible.
Yeah, I don't even pass the ball once a quarter. I don't even get an assist a quarter. I get 1 assist per game. I get 1 assist per game. And every other game I'll give you 2. That's what that means.
You know what? Michael Porter Jr. for a career, 1.1 assists. Jesus.
Who would you rather have, Michael Porter Jr. or DeAndre Hunter? It's the same foul clutch to me.
15 points, 6 rebounds, 1 assist versus 15 points, 4 rebounds, 1.3 assists, and Hunter's probably a better defender. You really like splitting.
Yeah, games. But Porter's also the 4th option. 1, 2, third option. Yeah, I guess. He has better facilitators. He gets looked for. Hunter don't get looked for at all.
Yeah, that is the other part. Hunter doesn't get the like. Yeah, Trey is gonna pass to either DeJounte or he's gonna try to throw it. Like due to the way that our offense is set up, it's either DeJounte or a big. Yeah, you as the 3 are the last option. But that's the same thing that happened with John Collins. You the last option, bro. If nobody else can get it, then we'll give you the ball with 7 seconds.
See, and I like John. I just feel like you shoot him bail because John had to shoot from 3, which he was good at, and he accepted that role until he messed up his finger and tried to play through it. But John couldn't be counted on to really do anything else other than shoot the 3 and grab the boards unless he played inside, but you couldn't do that with Capella, which we'll get to Capella here in a second because, boy, he's trying to play his way out of Atlanta. They let Bruno Fernando play just as many minutes as Capella last night.
Well, it was because you were playing against, outside of Jakob Poeltl, the backup center is not real. So, and we were behind so much that we needed the offense. And don't forget, Clint just came off an injury too. So he was on a minutes restriction. So Bruno had to take up the rest of the minutes because there's no Okongwu. I for the life of me, first of all, this roster construction to me is terrible.
Nick Wrestler, pack your bags. Leave, please. I'll pack them for you. Out by 5. Call security.
The continuation of playing Garrison Matthews is unbelievable to me because he's terrible on defense. Just awful. And it's like,
why is it confusing?
If he can't play,
whole defense is bad.
Huh?
Everybody's bad at defense.
You said what?
I said, why is it confusing? Everybody's bad.
Well, if he's going to be bad on defense and not score any points, then play Kobe Bufkin. Like, at least if we're going to get, like, that's the thing. We're losing and not getting reps. We're not even finding out what we have from these other guys and still losing games. And Quinn's whole thing is try to win the very next game, which used to be Nate's whole thing. But eventually you got to get to a point where you're like,
man, that Dan Quinn rhetoric is losers. That's loser rhetoric. That's loser talk. 1-0. Y'all remember when Dan Quinn was talking about 1-0? 1-0 every week that's loser talk,
Yeah.
bro. That means you ain't fixing the problem. You trying to put a Band-Aid over it. I hate that shit. But go ahead. That pissed me off.
And we don't have any development. Like, we haven't seen Muhammad Gay play all season. No Kobe Buffkin, no Seth Lundy, and we still suck. This is the thing. You can't. The thing that Nate was okay with was we were winning enough games and we were competitive enough that it was like, okay, well, we could just turn it on and maybe really make a push to like 4 or 5. This team is 10. And that's the part that I don't understand. It's teams that there are teams that are better than us to play rookies. There are teams that are worse than us to play rookies. We just don't play them. And it doesn't make any sense. And then when it's time to sign a guy, they're developmentally so behind, i.e. Jalen Johnson, that you don't really know what to do with this guy, nor how much really to pay him.
Sneaky, we can't put it on Nate because Nate did not develop Jalen Johnson. Now, you did make a point, Sneaky, of saying you don't know if you can keep blaming Nate because it seems that philosophy has carried over to Quinn Snyder. He didn't play A.J. Griffin, and now A.J. Griffin is hurt because he went down there to the G League and got hurt. So even if he did like turn up down there, he can't really come back. I mean, if he misses 10 games, it's only 27 games left in the season, 26 now. So there's not really much you can do. So, I mean, I don't want to keep blaming Nate. I do think Nate is the beginning of that for some reason. But I'm trying to figure out who decided they don't play young players. Is it a baseball thing where you can keep like in baseball, if you don't play a certain amount, you get that extra year and you can keep control of them. That's why they send them to the minors.
So my thing is with like Nate has his own onus. Jalen Johnson is Nate's baby, and he will just, as long as he's associated with the team, which as long as we podcast, we will kind of talk about this era, the Nate era, for what it was. He fumbled that bag. Jalen Johnson's a good player who should have played. So I'm going to give him that responsibility. But Nate also had this team, say what you want to, it was 500. Like, it was a mediocre team. And
my daughter, my bad. Y'all know I be parenting, dog. I be parenting and podcasting.
Woo,
parenting and podcasting. Here we go.
Yeah.
Go ahead, my bad.
So like, number one, you should have learned from Nate, like, don't let me do the same thing that Nate did. And you're doing it and playing less defense. So
I say no, he opposite now.
And this is the thing, like, Quinn was that's the reason that all of this is kind of super linked to me is, y'all can't really talk about trading Trey right now because y'all got Trey's coach. Quinn is Trey's coach. So you can't really trade one without firing the other. And let me tell you, you can't fire LP and then fire Nate and then fire Quinn.
And then trade Trey.
I'm gonna tell you who you're gonna look like. You're gonna look like the Brooklyn Nets.
I don't even think you look like the Brooklyn Nets because the Nets, for as bad as that team was managed and the way that it is managed, they had a lot of outside circumstances that you just you couldn't predict COVID.
You're right.
You couldn't predict Kyrie Irving being like, screw y'all, I'm not doing nothing. Yeah. You couldn't predict James Harden seeing Kyrie just say F it and then leave. Like, you can't, like, that's why I don't really, the same way we don't really blame Kevin Durant for that, even though you kind of do because you put them together.
Yes, I
do. You can't blame Kevin Durant for Kyrie's actions. You can't.
I 100% blame Kevin Durant for that. And Kevin Durant is one of my favorite players, but that was Kevin Durant's fault. You're supposed, like, that's where, like, you got, like, as much as people get mad with Charles Barkley for saying that Kevin Durant is not a leader, that was his opportunity to exercise his leadership and say, hey, Kyrie, you and James got to figure it out till I get back. You got to play. That's your best friend, and that's the guy who you brought in. Yes, it's just like when me and you go out. If I bring you around some of my other friends, you are my responsibility. And how you act or don't act is a direct reflection on me. So if me and you go out and you wild the fuck out, ain't that your boy? We do this every time. Ain't that your boy? Yeah, that's my man.
Yeah.
Either you got to stand beside him or you got to
abandon ship. Abandon ship.
Yeah.
But back to the Hawks. Like, I don't really. You blame KD more. I do think he shares responsibility. And I didn't understand why people got mad at Charles Barkley for saying it. I mean, it's true. But I did have a problem with what Stephen A said. Stephen A used that comment to then just take free open shots at the shooting range at Kevin Durant. It had nothing to do with leadership. That's the part that I didn't like. But in terms of the Hawks, DeJounte Murray. Yeah, I watched all the sports show. I watched Get Up, First Take. I mean, I work from home, bro. That should be on. But what I don't like about DeJounte Murray seems like he respects the game. That's his big thing. I respect the game. I respect my teammates. He's the leader. And I don't know if Trey wants
the leader, but he should be the leader.
I don't know if Trey doesn't want to give him the point. I don't know if Trey's doing the long game of leaving. I mean, I said that when he bought the house in LA. I said, y'all better keep an eye on that. You know,
but they're not trading him to LA. Like, that's the other part.
LA doesn't have anything.
Yeah, like LA doesn't have anything. And if you're gonna lose your highest draft pick since like Dominique, you're not trading him to where he wants to go so he can go win a championship and you can look stupid. That's what embarrasses the organization. But DeJounte is the leader. He should be the leader. But since this is Trey's city, Trey gets paid all the money, and Trey was here first, and he's the longest tenured guy, then it's his team. That's the reason that Trey is going to end up having to go somewhere else. Because Trey is just not going to be a good enough leader. He needs to be a second man. I don't know how many. He would have to go somewhere else where somebody was already pre-established so that he couldn't flex his muscle.
San Antonio.
No, he won't be the number one man in San Antonio. I don't care what you
That's
say.
why he needs to go there.
Alien.
Yeah, the alien. You just said he needs to go somewhere where somebody else is already established. Wembanyama was established as the number one pick before the draft. I mean, established as the franchise player when he was 16, when the Spurs tanked for 3 years because they saw him at 11. When all that story broke out, that they noticed him since he was 11, I was like, oh, they played the super long game. They tanked for 3 years. So I mean, you could do that. You could trade him in San Antonio.
I can't understand like it. Knowing how Trey struggled with Nate, I can't imagine that him and Pop like hit it off.
I don't think Trey respected Nate. I think Trey will respect Pop. I don't think Trey respected Nate.
How do you? Well, I'm gonna tell you, and I might be wrong here, but I assume playing for Nate is very similar to playing for Pop.
Yeah, but what's the one thing you always say? You hold people responsible. When you have a lot more, your words have a lot more weight when there's 5 championship trophies sitting on your words. Nate,
yeah, but
didn't really have
wins all time.
Yeah, I mean,
that's crazy.
We've had the discussion in football where all these wins, and we talk about Trey too in basketball, all these wins and stats without winning. And I mean, no disrespect to Nate, but what I'm saying is, I think Pop has, because he has so much success in winning championships, I think his words would. But again, I don't know, because I thought Trey was going to be able to play off the ball a little bit, and he struggles with that.
Yeah. That is the biggest jug ever, is they do that every year in Summer League. Oh, yeah, not Summer League, preseason. Trey's going to play off the ball. Trey's going to play off the ball. Never plays off the ball. And it just – but that's the other part is, unfortunately with Trey, if he doesn't have the ball in his hands, he is completely useless.
He's still – like, he could be Steph. You know what's crazy? Not in terms of skill, but in terms of the way they play. If he would have just run around – Trey makes difficult shots, but he just don't run around. He just stands still. And I'm like, bro, you got to be able to, like, you could tell you know who else does that low key? His idol, Kevin Durant. That's all Kevin Durant do. Kevin Durant jogged down the court to the top of the. That's why it didn't work in it worked in Golden State, but also Kevin Durant 6'7" so Trey's 6 feet. So, but I mean,
if you grow another foot, then bro, run that offense. But other than that, like, you're right. And that's the part that like people don't see in the stats is Trey no ball is a statue. And let's be real, like you could at least tire your defender out. Do something. You already ain't playing I'm gonna tell you, he pissed me off at the end of this game. We had a chance to come down there and get an easy 2-pointer and tie the game. What does he do? Shoots a long 3. Then after he shoots a long 3, they come down on defense. Buddy is wide open. Instead of stepping out, putting a hand up, Trey doesn't move. And I put it in the group, but it was just like, what do we like? How do y'all watch tape on that? What
to me that tells me that he's checked out, which tells what that just tells me is that he's not going to be here within the next 2 years. And I think they're going to punt. And you can already tell, and we won't, beat this over the head, but you could tell Landry Fields is already backtracking. We talked about it a month ago when he was like, well, I didn't really want to hire Quinn. It was rumors and leaks and rumors that he didn't really want Quinn, and now they talking about trading Trey. That tells me they about to blow it up. And if they do that,
you don't really need to blow it up. You could move Clint and move like the part is everybody's like, oh, blow it up because of Trey. Well, if y'all believe that Trey is half as good as people want to say he is, and if you look at the stats, they do prove that he's pretty good. You should be able to get a decent haul back for Trey. Like it's like if they trade Trey, it's like we're gonna get peanuts back.
Well, you pigeonhole yourself though, because they know they're gonna trade him. Like when you trade a superstar, you kind of gotta. It's got to be like either the superstar's like I want to be traded, or it needs to be, hey, we think this is the best for the franchise. We're gonna do this before he requests to be traded, or I want to leave. Like it's got to be for a superstar to get the maximum haul that you need. You either got to trade him to a team that has everything, or you got to do it like under the cloak of night, like the Clippers with Paul George. Everybody thought he was going to the Lakers, and then the Clippers came in and was like, "Schnack," and that was like, "Oh my God!" So it's got to be something like that.
Could we do that with the Knicks? I mean, with the Cavs and Donovan Mitchell.
I'm Trey. I wouldn't.
But what I'm saying is,
Sneaky said moving Trey is blowing it up for what it's worth. Which is, I mean, you built the team around him, so
it depends on what it all depends on what you get back. What I'm saying is the Cavs know that Donovan Mitchell still probably wants out, and you can't afford for him to go to the Knicks. So if the best thing that
I'm here, I'm listening.
Make it where everybody else is unhappy, then yeah, I'd rather get Trey back, and for what it's worth, Trey doesn't have to play a ton of defense with Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. Now, you still got the same front court issue with Darius Garland and Trey, but you might be ready to move Darius Garland.
I mean, the Cavs are in the same situation, just with a better flow of a team and better defensive coaching to me. Like, they have more talent, but Donovan Mitchell, once he goes, what I've seen with Evan Mobley, I would probably try to get Evan Mobley.
Mobley is in a tricky situation.
Because you're not going to get Donovan. Donovan's got to re-sign. So you got I'd rather get Mobley and control him for the next 2 years.
Mobley is in a tricky situation because he's good, but he's not as good as like. I hate to say it, but I mean, 15-9. You know who that sounds like to me.
Yeah, but John Collins, I think, has reached his ceiling versus where Mobley, we assume that he has not. So when you keep comparing John Collins to all these people of 15-9, a lot of the people that you're comparing them to, we don't believe that they've reached their ceiling. John Collins is at the ceiling. I don't think unless he just decides to go into the gym every day and learn how to dribble, John Collins ain't really, he's at his ceiling.
But he can shoot and Mobley can't. Like, John is a shooter. Mobley is not. Mobley don't got no mid-range, no three-point.
He had one. That's the crazy thing. He had one last year.
Gone. And Collins is doing it with no point guard. Cavs got 2 point guards.
Yeah. But I don't know what the Hawks doing. We got 3 more. We got 3 games this week. We're probably gonna lose them all. I don't care.
No, they'll beat Utah. They're not gonna let Utah win.
John is shooting 25% from three. 26.9 in his last 10, 34 overall. Now he is shooting 50% from the field goal. 14 and 9. 15 and 9. So I mean, he's playing John. He ain't really
but with
that great
no
of a shooter.
point guard.
But he ain't really that great. But John ain't been that great of a shooter since he hurt his finger. So for you to say that he's a great shooter to me is kind of false information, because since he hurt that finger, he has not been a reliable 3-point shooter.
Yeah, but 34% from three versus 25% from three that's night and day.
The last 10 games, he's at 25%. For the season, he's at 34.
Oh, I mean, you're gonna have negative and positive regression.
34 ain't great.
Yeah, but when you're comparing him to a guy who's shooting 25%, I'm not even stepping out there.
That's John. I'm saying that's John. That's John. John Collins in the last 10 games is 25% from three. For the season, he's 34.
For his career, he's 35% from three is not bad.
Look in the last 2 years. What is he shooting?
32%.
That's not great. You criticize Trey for shooting 32%. How do you big up John Collins for shooting 32% and criticize Trey?
Because John Collins shoots 50% from the field. Excuse me, 54% from the field.
So because he shoots bad from three but good from two, you're willing to allow him to shoot less and not criticize him. Where Trey averages 11 to 12 assists, and a lot of the times that 50%, Trey, whether you want to believe it or not, Trey was responsible for a lot of John Collins alley-oops, stuff at the rim. So that 50% is also inflated by Trey, which is why it's kind of hard for me to always. That's why I don't mean to pick on you. It's just it's always interesting to me how you shoot bail to John and you criticize Trey for the exact same points. Like you call Trey
13 points. 13 points last year with the Hawks, right? With a point guard, with 2 point guards.
Who?
He has 14 points with the Jazz, no point guard.
What does that have to do with him shooting from three? He still can't. His shooting from three is still bad.
No. What I'm saying is you are giving Trey a lot of credit for his ability to score. He's still scoring.
I'm not giving him a lot of credit at all. I'm saying you give John a lot of credit for the same points that you criticize Trey for.
Well, so John has a much better shot selection than Trey. John plays better defense than Trey. And without Trey, John's scoring is pretty much the same. So, like, for us to say that the reason that he was scoring was because of Trey, and then he goes somewhere else and basically
the reason his shooting percentage was 50% is because it was a lot of it was because he was in the pick and roll. It's the same thing with Clint Capella. Like, I don't know. We can leave it there. I can't see how you don't see that. But
because he's shooting 52% with no, he's not running pick and roll in Utah.
I don't know what they're running, but I know when he was with Trey, and the same thing that you are that you're criticizing him for, or criticizing Trey for, it's the same thing with John. But the 32%.
Let me sum up my point. Because I do actually watch all the Utah games. Is they just run an offense like he said? Hey, where there's a lot less ego in the offense. They move the ball, they wait for the right shot, and they score. And that's the reason that this team, the Utah team, with less good players, is more successful in a more difficult conference.
Less good players. So you got Lauri Markkanen, Jordan Clarkson, John Collins, Keontae George, Colin Sexton, Walker Kessler. Versus Clint Capella.
Walker Kessler is not better than Clint Capella.
They're the same type of player. They're the same. If Walker
not
Kessler,
even close.
Yeah, they are.
Walker Kessler's been on the bench the whole season.
Yeah, that don't change nothing for me. We think that Capella should be benched.
No, I don't think he can't be benched because the team is too small.
That's
John Collins took Walker Kessler's spot and put Walker Kessler on the bench. Lauri is good, but Lauri's their best player. But you don't think that Lauri and Trey are in the same stratosphere, do you?
No. Lauri's a scorer. He averages more rebounds, but I mean he's also 6'11". So
Exactly.
no, I think Lauri's a 2. I think. Well, I
Who do you
mean,
think is
actually, they're in the same. They're both, to me, from what I've seen this year, they're both 2s. They're both number 2s.
Okay. So who like next option after Lauri? Who's the next best player?
Either Jordan Clarkson or John Collins.
Jordan Clarkson is a 6-man.
That okay.
Okay, you believe that DeJounte Murray is better than both of those players, right?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I think he's a better overall player.
Okay, so after that, you think that DeAndre Hunter is better than?
Well, first off, you skip Bogey.
Next...
I think Bogey is the third best. It would be number 3.
I mean,
Thank
okay,
you, Sneaky.
Yeah,
thank you. Thank you, Sneaky. I know it. I know what I be saying, dog. I know what I be saying.
I don't necessarily hate that, but I think that the consensus of most people would be that they think that Trae Young is probably.
When do you care about the consensus of most people? You always stand out on a ledge and say, like, I stand there by myself. Don't call on most people. Now.
If it was me, I would pick Lauri over Trae 100% of the time. But I also don't want to just because then if I do that, then it's like, oh, it's bias. So that's the reason I asked you which one.
No, I can tell. Biased is your point with John Collins and Trae. That's bias. Bias with your point with Lauri Markkanen and Trae is not biased to me.
This is the best part about it. We will make sure that we post that on the Instagram socials. Y'all, please tell us who y'all think is better. We would love to hear your thoughts on Trae versus Lauri Markkanen. But let's pick these games, man. First up, Magic versus the Pistons. The Magic, who are in fact a good basketball team out of nowhere, and the Pistons, who are terrible. I am taking the Magic in this.
You think the Magic came out of nowhere? They've been building that for a minute. They got all their draft picks minus Mo Bamba. I don't think Mo was drafted.
The reason I think so. But the reason that I say that they came out of nowhere is they've passed the Bulls, who were a better team. They passed the Nets, that were a better team. They passed the Raptors, that were a better team. They're almost as good as the Heat, that were a better team. And then even the Hornets had that one run with James Borrego. So yeah, they've kind of snaked themselves from the pits of the East, which is literally the worst in the NBA, to being they're firmly a play-in team. And if a couple things go right, they could get out of the play-in, because you think the Sixers probably going to drop with no Embiid. And then all you got to do is pass the Heat and the Pacers. They could get out of the play-in. That's crazy.
I think because I'm not surprised. I was surprised that they were like number 2, but I wasn't surprised they had such a marginal jump. I mean, such a large jump in success.
They play defense.
And Paolo, what nobody ever talks about that you need to talk about is going as a young player and playing in the Olympics and FIBA is a big deal, because you learn how to be a professional. Paolo, while he was talented, he has become a professional, and he's a beast. But
every time I see, I look at Paolo, I look at Zion, and I think that Zion is probably more gifted, but Paolo availability and willingness to play defense is what really makes that team go.
Yeah, I don't see them getting 6 though. I think they're gonna be. I don't see them getting 6. I think first of all they will beat the Pistons. The Pistons. I do like that the Hawks tried to go get Jaden Ivey in a trade. They wanted Jaden Ivey and the Sir Thompson, the Thompson twin, the robot, and they were like, nah. But
no, I'm not giving you either one of those guys.
For DeJounte, I would have given you Jaden Ivey, but and they wanted picks.
Oh.
But in this terms, I think the Pistons, unfortunately, as much as we do love Monty, I don't know if that's the best fit. I don't know if Monty seems like a little bit innate to me. He seems a little too old school for the modern basketball, because he can't get the best out of these players at all.
This is a tricky situation. because I do understand what you're saying, but I think at the end of the day, this is just a girl who you weren't interested in, but she kept saying, well, you want to go on a date now? Do you want to go on a date now? Do you want to go on a date now? I'll pay for the date. When they made him the highest paid coach in the NBA, it was like, I don't really want to coach this team, but if you're going to pay me this amount of money, I'll coach this team.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it came down to is,
and he coached it like
this much.
And that's how he coached it. 847.
Yeah. And
that's how
that's
he
the
coached
part. It doesn't look like he's that interested. It's like, I'm here to get a check. This team sucks. Like, it's not a lot that he can, like, the other part is the Pistons team just sucks. Like, I can't fix, like, I'm not the Magic Man here. I'm not Harry Potter. We ain't finna do that. So yeah, until you guys give me something to work with. And then the best thing that my team is good at right now is assaulting other NBA players.
Bad boys it up, Shawty. But yeah, we got the Magic beat the Pistons. Next up, which should have been and probably still will be game of the weekend or best game definitely tonight, which is on ABC, the Celtics Knicks. Unfortunately, Julius Randle isn't going to play. He's been hurt sideline with the shoulder injury, even though there's a clip going around of him getting shots up. So I think that means he's elected not to have surgery, if I'm not mistaken. So if he were playing, I probably would pick the Knicks here. And I still want to pick the Knicks, but I think the Celtics are too talented. And missing Mitchell Robinson and Julius Randle, Porzingis
and OG Anunoby.
And OG. Porzingis going to go crazy. He been going crazy too, quietly.
The Knicks are in a weird situation where what you got to do now is ingratiate the new players and get healthy. That's the biggest thing right now for the Knicks. We know that at 100%, Mitchell Robinson, Julius Randle, and OG Anunoby, that's your front court. Your entire front court is injured right now. So it's about everybody else finding what they can do good and figuring out how to, start in that role. So when the front court comes back, they can make a playoff run. It does help the Embiid going down. That gives them a little buffer to kind of as the Sixers, because I think they're gonna drop. As long as you just stay on top of the Sixers pause, then you'll be able to ride this into the playoffs. So yeah, we both taking the Celtics in that one. Next game, Nets versus the Timberwolves.
Now this is the team that surprised me. They surprised to be number one and to be like, I watched them play last night. They play for real defense. Like Karl Anthony Towns, as much as we talk bad about him and he's soft and all this other stuff, he has figured out that role. Now they probably gonna trade him because his contract isn't worth the role that he's in. But defensively, he kind of just guard. They treat him like Steph. He just kind of guard the 3-point shooter, and then he get rebounds. And then offensively, like but he's 7'1". So, like, if you 7'1", just be tall. Like, that's all they telling him to do on defense, be tall. And then on offense, because him and Gobert, I don't know what they figuring out, but they done figured something out with that little high-low, that big-to-big alley-oop, where they put him on the block and then have Gobert roll to the rim on the other side, and he just spins and throws it. Or if you try to stop Gobert, he lay it up. Or they pass it to Ant to come dunk. Like, that threesome pause, if necessary, is kind of crazy. The only thing that scares me is they can't shoot.
Reed. They're the
who is crazy. He's crazy. Why didn't we get
all the centers? You're right. You call that one. I will give you that credit. I was like, I didn't see the vision there, and then he just been bombs away.
Bro, I was like, y'all need to draft him. They didn't draft him. I said trade for him. Didn't trade for him. He went to free agency. I was like, sign him. But the only thing that's with the Timberwolves is they can't shoot. They can shoot, but they can't shoot. And they're going to need shooting eventually. Karl Anthony Towns may be the best shooting big man in the league, but you need more than that. And I like Conley for what he gives, but they need Clay. Imagine if they had Clay.
Yeah, definitely. Woo!
Who you got there?
I'm taking the Timberwolves in this. Cam Johnson has kind of fallen off the face of the earth for me. He was one of those guys who I thought was like in the ascension as like one of the next 3-and-D wing guys, and he just
that was your guy to sign. You wanted to get him from Phoenix.
And I still believe in him and Mikal Bridges. I think that team needs some reformatting.
Can we talk about the coaching? They fired the coach. I don't understand firing the coach in the middle of the season when you're in the 11th seed. I don't.
And like, look what he took over this team post obliteration. Like, what?
And then you fire him. That's good.
That's the part to me that I don't understand. Now, I will say that what I read was they fired him because a lot of the offense was centered around Ben Simmons. And I guess.
Oh, he centered the offense around Ben Simmons.
Yeah.
Why would you do that? I mean, I get it in terms of letting him be the facilitator because he ain't going to do nothing else.
He's just not available. But you can't. Our strategy can't be for a guy who's not playing, like, who's always hurt. Unfortunately, like, you know, I'm back on the Ben Simmons train, but for sure, that can't be your strategy. He don't play. But yeah, T-Wolves.
Yeah, T-Wolves.
Come back on Sunday. Game. Bucks versus Sixers. Sixers with no Embiid for the foreseeable future. I mean, Doc Rivers, don't blow this, bro. Don't lose this one. If you lose this game, Monday, it'll be a long Monday podcast for you, Glenn. Let me tell you that.
Let me tell you something. I ain't got no smoke with Doc. None. I ain't got no smoke with Doc. And as much smoke as I normally have for Doc, I ain't got no smoke for Doc. We talk about Trey. You built the team around Trey. We talk about Kevin Durant.
The smoke express lane directly to Giannis. Don't put your mask on. Don't put your mask on.
Yeah, stay on. Come on up here. You know, you get a whooping. You was little. Your dad be like, stand right here. Right here. That's how I feel. Yeah. Like, Doc, we already think Doc is a flawed coach, and you threw him in a situation where he was. Now, I don't know if he was shading Adrian Griffin or not. I would hope. I give people the benefit of the doubt when it comes to character until you prove me wrong, and then I don't give you any benefit at all. So I'm going to assume that he didn't just backdoor Adrian Griffin like that. I 100% believe this season is on Giannis. All these moves made were because of Giannis. And if you believe that the star is involved in all of the decisions, then you have to believe that Giannis knew about Drew Holiday and okayed the trade. Well, now they about to go to the Celtics. You knew that he okayed the hiring and firing of Adrian Griffin. You knew that you knew all of this was going to happen. And then Giannis, I would give him a little bit more bail if he would just keep his mouth shut. He seemed like he's on the defense stand every post game. He said, "I'm tired. I've had 4 coaches in 6 months." You are the reason they have 4 coaches. Yep. Go ahead, because I talk about this all night.
The other part is, if the Bucks handling this situation, it just looks stupider and stupider. First, Doc says, "Oh, well, I advised him not to fire him." Then Giannis says, "Oh, it wasn't me." Like, all of this is like passing the buck, and at the end of the day, it just looks embarrassing from you see what I did there. But just it looks like the organization is being poorly run. And I mean, if y'all, well, what I'm saying is we're not in the organization, but the message that's coming out from everybody is inconsistent, and it's a lot of finger pointing him and him and him. And I don't have anything to do with this. And all it does is
lie.
It makes
that's called a lie.
It makes the people who are running the organization look really dumb. And that will be the conversation I will have. It's like, all right, Giannis, you and I had this conversation. If you say that you didn't, then you're throwing me under the bus. And then, Doc, you as an advisor, you're telling me that you said not to fire Adrian Griffin. Once again, the person who's running basketball operations is the person who looks stupid. Because it looks like you're just making unilateral decisions without talking to anybody, which we know is 2024, which just doesn't happen.
Wonder if they're related to the wrestler family. Because it's the same thing with the wrestler family. They're doing the same terrible job. I said this to Kev. Shout out to Kev. Kev came by. Kev came by the house yesterday and kicked it with us for a second after my mom's retirement party. And we watched the 76ers versus Cavs game. And I said to Kev, I do like Embiid and I like Maxey. But that team, sans Embiid, has been really impressive to me. Because they played team ball. Like, they look like the Utah Jazz with Tyrese Maxey. Like, when you say they pass the ball around and they get the best shot and everybody knows their role, they may not be good because of talent-wise, but the way that they play basketball can get the Bucks beat tomorrow. You can beat the Bucks tomorrow. You can. I don't know if you will because Giannis is going to have a field day. But if you can stop everybody else,
well rested too.
and he's heard a lot. And Giannis he said he don't. Also, he be lying. Linus, you gotta stop lying. You telling me that you don't watch film? I don't watch no basketball. I don't know who I'm playing today. Poor. Either that's a lie or that's poor organizational direction.
Like what y'all don't watch tape, like y'all like you got to remember. First of all, there's a scouting report on every team, so it's not like you get a scouting report, you know tendencies. You don't get to the arena like, oh, who we got today? What? Next up, Lakers versus Suns.
Wait, who you picking? So we both picking the Bucks, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Lakers versus Suns is very interesting. I think that Bradley Beal is probably hurt again. I don't think he played last night.
He ain't played. Nope. Bradley Beal stealing, scamming. This is a stick up. Put all the money in the bag. Don't move. Hey, get on the ground. Put this. This was a full blown robbery of the NBA and Bradley Beal. And you know what age really bad? That tape where he was talking to his AAU team. It was like, can't none of y'all guard me. Boy, I'd be like, boy, I ain't got to. You'll never play. Like, like.
And a lot of those guys are in the NBA and can guard him.
Now they can. Yeah, they are. Yeah.
That team was good. Now, respect for putting together a hell of an AAU team. But they can guard you, and a lot of them, funny enough, are guarding you. This is actually interesting. I don't know who to pick in this.
Well, they're separated by 2.5 games for the 8th and 9th spot. Right now, Phoenix is trying. They lost to Dallas, which put them a half game behind. And I believe they lost to Dallas that game, right? Yeah, so they're half game behind Dallas.
Shoot the ball.
So they're actually, if they win, they could actually get to the 5th spot. They're in that 5, 6, 7, 8 range. Everybody's separated by a game. All of these games are important. You're going to get some good basketball here. I think LeBron can stay with KD, but I don't think LeBron will guard KD. We already know who the X factor in this game is. It's Anthony Davis. Kudos to him. He hasn't missed a lot of games. He's played well, but he's got to dominate for them to beat them.
Means, you know what that means to me?
Laws, averages.
And then go boom.
Yeah.
I'm gonna Suns in that one.
I'm gonna pick the
Lakers.
Suns.
Let's bet
they don't have. I don't trust anybody other than AD and LeBron, but I also don't trust anybody other than Booker and KD.
But Book and Kevin Durant, they could really be like, "Hey, the rest of y'all go home. Y'all play 2-on-2," and it would be more interesting.
And you know what my motto is when I can't pick, go with the home team. So going with the Suns for no reason.
All right. Next up, the Rick Carlisle
special
basketball.
The Rick Carlisle tournament. Classic. Yeah. That's what they call them, basketball. Classic.
Mavericks versus Pacers. I'm picking the Mavericks in this. Luka and Kyrie are doing their thing thizzle on the low. They continue to play winning basketball. Luka is a phenom with the basketball. It looks like he can do whatever he wants to kind of on his own pace. Now, the only thing you have to watch about the Pacers is they're going to get them buckets up.
And they're going to get hot.
And they going to score a ton of points. Now, they ain't going to play no defense. And I don't think that not playing defense against Luka and Kyrie is not. And, I mean, the other part is not playing defense, you give Tim Hardaway a chance to really get in there and shoot some buckets. So, yeah, I think the Mavericks just outscore them. But that's the game that I'll probably watch. Or actually, Fire Stick here, I'll be watching Mavs Pacers and Lakers Suns same time.
Oh, I got a Fire Stick too. I now have 3 Fire Sticks for each TV. I'm watching everything. I do like the Mavericks, not because of KD, not because of Kyrie and Luka. That trade deadline, if y'all remember on Reggie's reactions, I said the Mavericks won the trade deadline. And y'all are like, Daniel Gafford. And I was like, hey, y'all better go pay attention. Daniel Gafford knows his role. Same thing we talked about other people. They know their role. PJ Washington.
We always talked about that with the Mavericks is like, as soon as you got stupid ass Dwight Powell and Max Kleber out of there, that team could be good. But as long as you was rolling out Max Kleber and Dwight Powell, you like, what are you really trying to do? And finally, they listened. They continued. They got Derek Lively, which is an excellent draft pick. Then they got Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington. That's a team that is slated to try to win right now.
Their front court upgrade was exactly what you would want to do at the trade deadline. And compared with Kyrie and Luka, who, I mean, they even said it. They don't even really. I think I watched the game either yesterday or the day before against the Suns. They were like, yeah, they don't even call plays for real. They go down there and they get the ball, and then Luka decides, or Kyrie decides, and the bigs just go out there and be athletic, and Tim Hardaway Jr. and Kleber or what's his name, Green, shoot the three and play defense.
Yeah,
they have the recipe again, because remember when they went deep in the playoffs before, they had JaVale McGee, I believe.
Yeah.
So they have the recipe to go deep in the playoffs. But they don't play enough defense either. I think I picking the Mavericks, but I really want to pick the Pacers in this one. I really do.
The Pacers got a puncher's chance now. One thing about the Pacers is, I mean, especially you can ask the Hawks, man. They put up 160 points. They put up 70. They put up NBA 2K scores. Now
they put up 170 points.
Next up, Cavs versus Wizards. They just benched Jordan Poole. The Wizards suck, bro. Me and Reggie picking the Cavs. I don't even have to ask him my opinion on
Travis Schlink, bro, come back home.
Bruh, yeah, please. Next up, it's the Hawks versus the Magic.
We gonna win this game. Trey don't like to lose to the Magic.
He doesn't. That's the one thing that I do give Trey a lot of credit for. The people who he hates, he's not losing to them. Not a chance.
At all, Sneaky.
Not a chance.
At all.
Not a chance. Not a chance. Like, he gonna try to do his best to prove to you that you will never be as good as him. Mm-hmm. That's the reason that when we play the Kings, he be trying to torch Kevin Hurt.
He be scoring 40.
I'm gonna fix you, and I'm like, Kevin Hurt didn't even do nothing to you, man.
Nah, Kevin Hurt did. He said the same thing John did when he first got over there. He was like, man, it's nice to be able to have somebody that passed the ball. I'm like, Trey gonna cook you. I got the Hawks here. I think Paolo's gonna go crazy, but the Magic typically don't do well against the Hawks, especially in Atlanta. I got the Hawks here. Yep, Sneaky Trey is the Magic's kryptonite.
No. If y'all remember correctly, the Magic's kryptonite for the last two times has actually been DeJounte Murray, because he led the team in the second to last game. Then he hit the game winner in the last game. These last two games have actually been very good. But with that said,
picking against the Hawks,
I'm gonna give you the right answer, and then I'm going to give you my heart answer, and then I'm going to give you the right answer. The right answer is the Orlando Magic, and I did that backwards because we won the last two games close, and you know me, I still believe in law of averages. Two close games, it means that in this time, the pendulum probably swings back in the opposite direction to the other team. But I'm still going with the Hawks because of how they won the last two games. We'll see how that plays out. Thunder versus the Rockets. Thunder are going to murder them. The Thunder, now I do think that oddly enough, these teams are kind of weirdly match up pretty well. Minus at the point guard position.
I was about to say, Dylan Brooks, this is what you get, bro. Every time somebody play you, they be trying to cook you every game.
But that's not the matchup I'm concerned about, because you know who that is. That's Dylan versus Dort. That's dog fall. The only one
Dylan is gonna guard SGA. That is.
But what I mean, so who you putting Van Fleet on? Dort.
Van Fleet.
Dort.
Yeah, Dort. Or Jalen Williams. Anybody else other than SGA?
Jalen Green and Josh Giddey. Yeah, Jalen Green and Josh Giddey basically cancel out. Chet and Sengun basically cancel out. And then you have Jalen Williams and Jabari Smith. This ain't. If you want to watch good young basketball, this is probably one of the better games to watch. But the Thunder are just a better, more cohesive unit at this time, so they're going to win the game.
Where do you think Pokusevski's going to end up? I got the Thunder too, by the way. Where do you think Pokusevski's going to end up? because I was like, they just don't play him, and he's good.
My answer is the Hawks, man. I mean, I don't hate Garrison Matthews. I hate what Garrison Matthews brings to the Atlanta Hawks. At least Paco gives you another big. He's like another Jalen Johnson-esque player, tall enough, can dribble, can handle the ball, can shoot. Like, if we don't have wings, I'd much rather have Pokusevski than both of the Matthews.
Yeah,
and he's younger. Pokusevski's only 22 years old, and he was on a team where he just wasn't going to get enough reps. Like,
interesting.
The Hawks
to me,
stupid.
They could have if he was their backup. To me, this more is about Josh Giddey. If Josh Giddey that had turned into something, that whole situation had turned into something, I think you would have, and they had to trade him, you would have seen Pokusevski score more. But once all that stuff got dropped, I was like, oh well, yeah, they got to trade somebody. And they cut him because, I mean, they don't need draft picks. Nobody's gonna get a player for him. It is what it is.
I would tell you to play where Utah. He would be good in Utah.
At the 3?
Yep.
Yeah. Or off the bench. Yeah, it would be good. Bulls, Pelicans.
No, definitely off the bench. But yeah, like as another tall guy who can kind of pass and shoot. But yeah, we're picking the Thunder. Bulls versus Pelicans. Pelicans are going to
Pelicans. We need the Pelicans to beat the Bulls for the Hawks. Nuggets, Warriors. Hey man, the Warriors are starting to Draymond is back, looking like he's worth every penny of that contract extension.
Say what y'all want to, man. Draymond Green is an intricate part of the Warriors. They just showed the plus minus when he's on the court, when he's off the court.
120 or something like that.
They win when Draymond is there. They lose when he's not. And I know it's a triple single, but shit. You wanna score 40 points? And because most of these kids would be like, they'd rather just score 40 points and lose every game.
Yeah, I was about to say, have you seen where the game is going?
Triple single. Yeah. But I mean, to me, I'm a Draymond truther. I've always believed that Draymond is an intricate part, and I think he's like Hall of Fame worthy, great basketball player. But yeah, I mean, I'm still picking the Nuggets in this game.
Yeah, you can't not pick the Nuggets, but I think it's going to be closer than you think. I'm actually going to pick the Warriors here. The Nuggets are actually either 500 or below on the road. They're either 15-14 or 14-15. I can't remember which one it is. I want to
be clear, man. If Clay next year, if he can, Clay, you need to be looking for a $25 million contract.
Minnesota. Go to Minnesota. Be Ray Allen. Clay, be that person.
$25 million. You could be sixth man of the year. That's where
Steve Kerr signed that. He signed that extension, 2 years, I think they're gonna ride off in the sunset together.
I think that you do a 2-year. I think you do a 3-year team option, $75 million for Clay. I think that. That's about half of what you make now. But bro, you've been stealing now. Like, I know you've been injured and all of that, but you 37, 40, 43. Like, take them 3 years that you got paid and didn't do a lot of work. Yeah, and then now take this pay cut.
Yeah. So you taking the Nuggets? I'm taking the Warriors. 6-pack?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh man, my bad, guys. I had this for y'all. We'll do it again. 6-pack.
Reggie taking the Warriors. All right, next up, Spurs versus the Jazz. Spurs win.
Wembanyama, man. He like Broly the Super Saiyan. Like, he just keep getting better and better just by playing. All he's doing is just playing.
He's good and he's not good. Like, he's not playing very good basketball right now, but his height and skill and ability just fix it. Like, they say he's the first rookie in umpteen years to have a 5-for-5 game, 5 blocks, 5 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds.
And to be honest, he had 20. His 5 steals is crazy. He had 20 points. But
No, 5 blocks and 5 steals. If you don't do anything else, that's 10 possessions of a basketball game that you have
eliminated.
And that's if I don't score not now point.
I'm actually gonna pick the Jazz here. I'm not betting on it, but I'm gonna pick the Jazz because they're at home. I think on the road, I think Wembanyama is gonna get his, but on the road, that young team hasn't proved it to me. I mean, they're 11-46, so I'm picking the Jazz here. Hornets, Blazers.
Hornets.
This is the lottery game. Nobody cares. Kings, Clippers. Here we go.
This is a good one.
Here we go. This is a potential first round matchup, if I'm not mistaken.
Is that possible? I mean, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, they could get to 6. The Kings are in 7th place.
Oh, you're right.
So it'd be 1 versus 8, 2 versus 7, 3 versus 6. Right now, the Clippers are in 3rd. Which
this is a good game.
It sucks for Sacramento. Now that we look at the standings, I am too. It sucks for Sacramento because they're a decent and really a good team, but in their position, they're either gonna get 5th, 6th, or 7th. They're gonna have to play Minnesota, OKC, the Clippers, or Denver in the first round. There's nothing that you can do about that. And they're a good team, but just like Sacramento when they played against the Lakers with Shaq, it's just there's nothing you can do about it.
They're a good team that's probably at the peak of as good as the team can be, honestly. Too.
Yeah, they got to do some trading. They have to do some trading.
But
yeah, man,
here, honestly.
That's our picks for the day. Is there anything y'all want to talk about in the chat? We got a few viewers. We appreciate everybody tuning in today. We love y'all.
Yeah, we are. Everybody rocking what us look like from everywhere. Jesus.
Finally got the Instagram working. But other than that, man, Monday Night Raw, Monday. Possibly return of Reggie's Recast. I think I'm going to change it to Put the Kids to Bed podcast because it comes on at 10 Eastern Standard Time. So if you don't got anything else, Nora will take us out.
Hey, always remember Splashcast 36 pack out. Thank you guys for rocking with us. See you guys on Monday. See y'all on Monday. Outside of that, adios, mi amigos. Until we meet again, y'all have a happy Saturday. Y'all stay blessed.
Oh, Sneaky said, who the Falcons won at 8? Dallas Turner, Terry and Arnold, Malik Neighbors. Those are the 3 people.
We don't know anything until we get a quarterback. Quarterbacks first.
Yep. But we'll talk about that more. We appreciate y'all. My daughter is looking at me about to throw something down the steps.